Hey, yo, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Another episode of the All Pro JAFFOs, the highly elevated sports talk for the highly elevated sports fan. I'm your host, DP.
Hey, yo.
And you guys already know the 6'10 beast from the Southeast probably going to be a little bit late getting home, but that's not going to stop us, ladies and gentlemen. The guest today, the owner of the A7FL, Nevada and LA divisions, coming to speak with us on all things A7FL. Please welcome Mr. Derek Duncan. What's up, Derek? How's it going? Oh, might be a little muted, huh?
Let's try it like this. Can you hear me okay
There
now?
we go. Yep.
All right.
Got it now.
Get rid of these headphones. My apologies. I had the whole
don't worry.
setup going, and wasn't hearing myself on the back talk, so I'll just be a floating head with no headphones now.
That works.
All
We
right.
have Kay that has his backgrounds, and it's just the backgrounds, so it's all good. At least we got a head when it comes with you. Appreciate you for joining the show. We've had the guys from the 3-on-1 on here talking A7FL and everything that's going on, but not a whole lot of things that we've really been able to really kind of understand. I mean, if you've heard the 3-on-1 podcast, you've been on there before, so you've been able to talk more about it. But for our listeners and for our viewers who have seen everything and seen all the talks that we've had with Corey, obviously with Matt, and with Big Rob, it's all obviously East Coast based stuff. So I
Right.
definitely wanted to get you on because one, I wanted to know how you got here in the first place. Like what made you want to even invest in something like this? And two, how quickly do you see A7FL Nevada getting up there? I mean, we see it with the top 10 ranks, and we'll go over that in a second, but how close are the Nevada and LA divisions from actually getting that respect of these guys are legit, they are contenders, and it's not just the BIC, the U, and everyone else on the East Coast?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and the primary topic of discussion on our podcast as well. I'm glad that some of your folks are fans of the 3-on-1. I'm a big fan of the 3-on-1. We started our own podcast called The Other Side of the Ball just to get West recognition, to get Rob, Corey, and Matt thinking about us, talking about us, and hearing about West Coast stuff. So we were the alt podcast for the league for a while, and since we had our fall season and we were the only division out of all the divisions nationwide to actually put on a fall season, and that fall season happened to be on TV, I actually got the 3-on-1 guys to be our broadcasters for that season and made them watch every single fall game so that they understood what Vegas was, what we were bringing to the table, and really had the ability to evaluate our style of play versus the East and take a look at what our star players look like and what our bottom players look like, so they could really have a decent assessment of what our upper echelon looks like versus the upper echelon back east. Now, our upper echelon last spring, was far and away the force. They went 7-1 in the regular season, beat the LA Aces, who was the previous division champ, to go back east. The Force was the first team to go back east and beat a team on Eastern soil. So we know that they can compete at least with the mid-tier teams back east. That when they came up against the BIC the following week, they ran into a buzzsaw. Not prepared. Well, not I would say not prepared, but weren't prepared for what the BIC was going to bring to the table, the level of athleticism, and I was going to say not necessarily that, but the level of aggression and the level of focus, the level of locked in that the A7FL East teams are. So I think I guess I got to watch my words. The butt whooping that the Force took.
Oh, you don't know? No. You've heard the guys on the 3-on-1 as much shit as they talk. It's just as much.
Okay,
We
well,
we are free at the mouth here too.
good, good, good. Well, the ass woman that they took at the end of last spring to the hands of the eventual champion, uh, to a man, every single one of them that was on that plane coming back said, "Yo, we got worked. It will never look like that again. We understand where we fell down. We understand what we were missing. We'll be prepared." So I can't speak to everything force related because I'm not in their locker room. I'm not understanding what's happening on the off season. But they elected to not play our spring.
Mm,
They elected to not play our jamboree, which is our preseason tournament that leads into the spring season.
no.
And they just showed up on the game of the week against the Pit Bosses, who are the fall champion, and beat them 52-13. I think was the final, 52-14.
Handily.
Right.
It was not. It was oh, by the way, appreciate the shout out on the social medias for the the post that we put up there, because it was definitely one of those looking at back to the drawing board moments
Yeah.
for the
Look.
pit bosses, because uh, I looked at it this way, because yeah, the pit bosses were, the fall champions. Yeah, I'm over here thinking, I'm like, okay, it was like, this should be, pit bosses versus the force. This should be a good. Oh no, 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 no! This wasn't even close. So I'm not exactly sure, what happened. Other than I know that there were guys that were on the pit bosses during the fall that are no longer on the pit bosses
Right.
now. So just that whole dilemma basically depleted the pit bosses of virtually all the talent that they had, because I mean, 52-12. Ooh, ooh, that one was tough to watch. That one
Yeah,
was very tough to watch.
and to be straight, we didn't really know what to expect. With the Pit Bosses coming off their fall season, looking like a juggernaut and looking like one of the better teams nationwide. But we knew that there were some guys in that squad that were guys that played for the Force that wouldn't be returning. So we
No.
figured they'd take at least a slight step down if they weren't able to replace those guys. But what ended up actually happening is every one of those guys that was on the Pit Bosses that were Force players left the Pit Bosses and the Force and ended up on the Insomniacs. So last week we didn't know what we were really going to see out of the Force. Their top four guys that were MVPs in their respective positions last season were on different squads this year, and
Mm,
and from my perspective, three of those four guys were. Oh, sorry, two of those four guys were guys that were cut.
mm.
So knowing that they were cut, I figured that they were replaced by somebody better. And using the assumption card, I was like, okay, this team is going to be even stronger than they were last year if they're getting rid of their best, who we deemed their best defensive player previously, and who we deemed their best. Who else they cut? They cut Dillard. They're. I guess he's probably one of their best utility guys. Those guys both ended up on different squads this season. We're like, Leo, if they cut that type of talent and that type of energy, what they're coming back with is going to be needs to be special, or that was a big mistake, I guess. So
Well,
I took
it looks like it turned into the big mistake, because I mean, you could look at it at every other professional level. We can make the same argument for some of the people that they cut, that you would look at it going, why would they cut that guy? Like, I guess the replacement. Yeah, sometimes it's just bad decision making
right. Well, I
on the
mean,
higher ups. That's
well,
just
look, the
really
Chiefs
what it
let
boils
Tyreek
down
Hill
to.
go, and they just won a Super Bowl without him. So I mean, every now and then letting go one of your best guys is a good move.
Yeah, and this turned out to be not, maybe not one of them, because I mean, when you're the pit bosses and you take, I mean, yeah, it's the force, but again, when you look at the top 10 now, and I'm gonna bring it up right here. We look at the top 10 here. You've got three Vegas teams on you. You have Sick With It, who, in my opinion, put up a hell of a fight against the Insomniacs.
Right.
I don't think people were necessarily expecting that much, but it was one of those games, back and forth, all the way to the end of the game. It was entertaining.
Well, yeah, and not to get ahead of ourselves, but we're going to have Sick With It versus Force this Sunday, and everyone's going to be tested across the board. And a team like Sick With It is looking at potentially starting out their inaugural season 0-2 with a roster that's filled with some of the best talent Vegas has to offer across the board. Like, you look at their roster, and if you play ball around here, you're like, yo, that guy? Wow, that guy? Okay, they got something. So
I'm again looking at everything that they've given us that we've seen, this past week. I liked what I saw out of the Hunters. Not, I'm still kind of iffy about the gold. I don't really want to hold the score against them, but I mean, I look at that team and I still see that there's a little something that they got there that they can, maybe come out the next week and change things. But I look at the Insomniacs now, who I'm praying for the pit bosses. I'm praying for the pit bosses. I really am, because uh, you don't want to take back to back ass whoopings. You really don't. And the Insomniacs, especially judging by what they did against the Cicquid, if they can put up the points,
right.
that doesn't seem like it's a problem to them. It's the man. I'm gonna pray for the pit bosses. I
So
really.
look, the Insomniacs' only issue this week is going to be complacency. If they don't give the pit bosses the attention that they did sick with it the week before, the pit bosses can sneak up on them. The pit bosses have a so the beauty of this season for the spring for Vegas is on every single squad that is not one of the top 10, there is a outstanding rookie of the year candidate on that team.
Mm,
So the pit bosses have a kid named K Uno, who is one of the more dynamic players in Vegas, and he got worked last week, but he joined the pit bosses the day before the game. They never practiced together. Coach didn't have a chance to build an offense around him. I was
yeah.
on the phone with him earlier today, and they were talking about some of the things they've implemented that I know that if the Insomniacs aren't ready for this style of play, pit bosses could run up and get ahead by a couple scores if they can execute it the way I heard that they were talking about it.
Mm,
And I'm sure the Insomniacs will get it together and figure it out in short order, because they got a lot of great football minds over there, especially my guy James Borgoyne. He and I played ball together for 3 seasons here in town, and he's one of the better football minds in Vegas. I'm sure after a couple times seeing that, they'll get it figured out. But if the pit boss is already ahead by 2 scores at that point, will it be early enough? So a lot of things, a lot of intrigue. It could be another dog walk again, but it also could be a competitive game based on these guys picking up some more guys to fill out their roster and having some chances to practice together.
and I mean, we're hoping that that is the case, because that does make a difference. When you're having players that the expectations are high, but like I said, you just got there the day before. It's tough to gel and get that chemistry right off the bat. Just ask Corey Hammond and the Boston Omegas this weekend.
Right.
So, hopefully, yeah, that is the case, because I would like to see, and I told you this over the phone. I want to see the Vegas and the LA divisions as competitive as possible. I don't really, seeing the blowouts and stuff like that. Okay, that shows the quality of the team that won, but it's like I'm trying to see these teams put up enough to where it's giving, I guess, more of a selfish thing, because it shows if you guys are doing well and you guys are showing being competitive, three or more teams inside the top 10 every single week, people on the West Coast are going to start buzzing. We want that up here in NorCal. We really do. We're trying to figure out a way to get it up here.
Right. Well,
And
and we're bringing it. So I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves for the show, but we're going to be bringing that noise to NorCal and intended to fully bring it this spring. It's just that we got so wrapped up in the LA side that we had to step back and say, okay, we need to focus on LA.
yep,
They've taken a step back as far as the number of teams that were already engaged. So we need to turn our focus to, you know, taking the epicenter of the population in the West and making sure that they were covered before we started trying to expand. But
right,
Reno, Sacramento, Phoenix, Salt Lake City are my primary targets on the next divisions that we want to turn on in the West,
yeah,
and divisions that I personally would like to have control and ownership of. Reno specifically, I have control and ownership of. I negotiated that in the beginning of my contract with the league,
perfect.
and the idea with Reno was, we've got a built-in competition with SAC. It's 100 miles away, right?
Yep,
Easy game day travel if we wanted to make them a single division while they're building. Maybe we put the games in Spark, so it's even maybe 75 miles instead of 100 miles, and get it set up where it makes sense. So that was our intention for this spring, but likely we're going to have to push that we have to push that now to the fall or spring. But
Yeah.
stay tuned. I believe we're going to run a fall indoor season at the Sports Dome in Reno and do an arena style of the A7FL. We're definitely targeting doing that in Vegas as long as I can find a venue. In Reno, I've got a venue. So uh, hopefully the draw playing indoors in the winter is strong enough to pull guys from Sacramento. But if not, we certainly are looking for a partner up in the Sacramento area to take an indoor season up there. Sacramento's decently not doesn't get so crazy cold where you couldn't do an outdoor season. I wouldn't try to do
Right.
that.
It's just more wet out here than it
Right.
is anything else.
Right.
But I'm thinking with Sacramento, with Stockton especially, because I
Right.
know down there they're itching, and I know out here in Sacramento there's more that the people are looking for. Yeah, we got
Right.
they got the Kings out here. They have a AAA baseball team. They got an MLS team, but to have I mean, they got the Sac State and everything out here as well, but to give them another aspect in sports that is exciting, that's getting the national attention, that's getting looked at, since its beginnings, and are the competitive side of a lot of people here in Northern California. There's always going to be that rivalry, SoCal, NorCal.
Right.
So I already picture, like, oh yeah, Northern California, the rivalry with Southern Cal, that's going to be insane.
Yes.
Like you said, Reno, Sacramento, there's a whole Stockton is going to want to make
Right.
rivals out of everybody because it's Stockton against the world out there.
Right.
That's
Right.
just how it is. So being able to have the A7FL come out here in those communities who I know would just soak it up and just enjoy the hell out of it. So getting it out here, for us, especially on this show, that's been kind of priority number one the last
Well,
few years.
look, and you nailed it. So we know for certain that the Sacramento Stockton area has the players who understand our game and have actually played a version of our game. If you guys follow the Prime Football League,
Hmm.
and those guys out there, they play a brand of football we call flackle. So where it's it's flag between the hashes and tackle on the outside of the hashes.
Hmm.
We've never seen that before, but guys that are willing to tackle without pads is all we need, right? And then
Exactly.
we bring the national style league with our opportunity for winning cash at 25,000, opportunity for winning a division championship at 2,500, opportunities leading up to it, and tournaments that we have. Some of them $10,000 tournaments, some of them $1,500 tournaments, some of them $2,500 tournaments. But all of those things, the guys in that area are very used to getting involved in, and we fully intend to capitalize on that, which is why focus is on Sacramento and Stockton for one of our primary expansion areas. For me specifically, I know
Yeah.
that we can turn that on and make it work.
And we definitely got to get the Stockton one. And if we get one in Stockton, we have to make sure that we bring Matt Ryan's dreams to fruition and create the Stockton Slaps. That needs to be a team, just so Matt Ryan can just I guarantee he'll probably be wearing that jersey every show that you see him on.
I'm sure of
Yeah.
it.
He's dreaming of that team. So we got to make that dream come true.
The
Um
Stockton Slaps. I was thinking the Stockton Sons. SONS
hmm,
for Sons of Anarchy. All
mm,
right.
there's so many things that we
I
can
know.
it's just
But
it's
look, Stockton's big enough where it could have more than one team. So we'll
yeah.
figure it out. We'll get with a manager slash coach down there, get the feeling of his guys, and build out a franchise around the personality of their guys. So once we took over LA, we had the Aces, we had the Vibe, we had a team called the Hollywood Heroes and the Empire. And after talking to the new guy who was going to be running the Vibe, we asked him, like, look, do you like that Vibe name? Your guys aren't based out of Santa Monica anymore. Do you want to develop a new team? And he goes, you know what? Let's go with the Long Beach Regulators. So
You want Snoop to get involved, that might be the way to do it right there.
Right? Well, Snoop already expressed wanting to get involved. We're going to take full advantage of that and keep playing on that word and try to get him as involved as possible. But I actually came up with the logo for this one. I'm pretty proud of it. So we used a lowrider, right?
There we go.
At the front end of a lowrider, pointed out, so the license plate says regulators on it, and the hood says LBC.
Yeah, Snoop is going to be foaming at the mouth to get in touch with that one.
Right. And there's one little other twist that I'm not going to throw out there yet until it gets released, because I think it's fire, and I was shocked that I even came up with it. So when it hits, I think people will call it their favorite logo in the league.
That I hope so, man. Again, there's so many things, and I feel so good for the guys, with the 3-on-1, and then everybody else who's been involved with it since the town beef days and everything, to kind of see it come from that into what it is today. It's pretty cool to see. And when I talked to Rob, he almost got a little choked up. He was just almost like, being part of something like this, it's been really cool. It's been real, it's been an experience. This is something that guys just wanted to go out to compete and have a good time, and it turned into like national. It's now national. It's
Right.
from one coast to the other coast.
Rob is in the perfect spot. He's one of my favorite guys to look at when you talk about the transition of this league. He is a champion, been involved at a championship level, started out with a team that is now the champion, left them to win a championship with another team. And the team he left is now the premier team in the league. But Rob's institutional knowledge of the league, along with Corey's institutional knowledge of the league, those two guys together are just a fabulous combination of broadcasters. Obviously, with Matt, bringing his flavor to the thing, they make a really, really good team. But it's Rob's historical value, his championship pedigree, watching the U fall from grace after he left, kind of gives him that extra little bump as far as his value in the league. And now as an announcer, he can say whatever he wants, and people absolutely have to take notice and listen, because obviously he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
So
he's seen it all. So you can't really. And honestly, I love his straightforward, give no fucks
right,
attitude when it comes to
absolutely.
calling dudes out.
He called I'm pretty sure he called every team in Vegas a six-pack of ass at one time or another. So, and all they're trying to do is remove at least 3 or 4 of them bottles to make sure it's like just maybe a double fisting of ass or something. Pause. That sounded awful.
So
anyway.
they have pause. We have
phrasing.
We have the Archer phrasing in here.
The Archer phrasing. Hook me up. You put me on game. I don't know what that is.
You never seen Archer on FX?
Oh, I saw previews of Archer. I've never actually seen the actual show.
It's legit.
Okay,
you'll have to go see that.
All right.
You have to go see that one. But
I'll check it out.
What made you want to get into this? Like, what? How do you see this and go, yeah, I'm doing that?
All right,
that's exactly what I'm getting into.
So let's mid-May 2021, as things are very weird around all of sports, because we're in the middle of COVID and everything's happening around all sports. This advertisement on Start Engine popped up on my Facebook feed, and it showed the highlights of this football league that was on a national level. They had 5 teams in San Diego, 4 teams in Florida, teams in the Northeast, and they were looking for investors. And I invested, a meager amount. I was like the 3rd level or something like that. I think it was $5,000. So I invested, like, look, I want ownership in this league, and I'm doing this because I want first right of refusal of a team in Las Vegas. I see the quality. I see what you guys are putting on as far as the league is concerned. I love your social media reach. And I think, based on what I'm seeing with the NFL and how many things are going negatively in the NFL, and the lawsuits and the concussion information, and moms and dads not allowing their sons and daughters to play padded football because of the concussion things, I was looking at the A7NFL as something that could eventually be a replacement for the NFL. Now that I'm involved, and I'm seeing how things go, I don't see it as a replacement for the NFL. I see it as an enhancement to the
Mm,
NFL. And I'm going to say what I say to everybody else. I look at this as the 1990s UFC to boxing, what we are to the NFL. That
mm.
raw and real thing that nobody from the NFL is going to say, I'm going to go play in that league and see how I do, because they're not used to this brand of football. They know how to hit with pads on. You take the pads off, and they're a different breed.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
understanding our sweet spot is, a alt league, not a alternate league, but an alt style altogether, that guys that have a little bit different outlook on things, guys that I don't know, I want to say are more manly, but are willing to put more at risk,
yeah,
in theory, right? We know that our game is safer by every metric that we've ever looked at. We have
yeah,
less concussions, less injuries per player minute played across the board than padded football at any level.
yeah.
And but marketing to these players and trying to get them to understand that playing without pads is safer, that's a tall task. And I don't care how many white papers you have, until their best friend goes and does it and doesn't get hurt, then they're not going to go there. So
Yeah,
I
it's
saw
just
it.
the idea of it, because I remember the first time that I ever saw the A7FL commercial, the little ad pop up, and the first play that popped up was guy screaming down the line, and as soon as the ball snapped, destroying the defensive end.
Yeah, decleating that dude.
Just like, I'm like, oh, they're doing this with okay, so there are some psychotic human beings on this planet. Okay. This is okay, so we're just gonna NFL style just destroy each other. Okay. All right, so that's where this league is going. But then you start to actually look into it and do the actual research, and you start to realize, hmm, what I thought I was gonna see, which was, pretty much dead bodies on the ground all across the field every single play. It's not the case. It's much safer. It's much more. I mean, I guess again, just the safety of it, because I remember watching the first game and looking at it, going, these guys are putting licks on each other. They're hitting each other pretty good, but everybody's still getting up. Everybody, I was like, okay, this is. I was like, now it's got that rugby feel, to where it's like, all right, everything's safe, but these aren't like patty cake. Oh, here,
Right.
style hits. These are like shots that guys are taking. So it's looking at it going, hmm, this could be something that the NFL or other professional leagues might want to look into, because of the fact that, yeah, and I've heard you guys talk about it. I've heard Doc come on, and he's said, when you don't have a helmet on and you hit somebody with your head, chances are you're probably not going to do it again, because that shit hurts.
Right. You only do that one time.
You only get dizzy in days before you realize, all right, maybe I shouldn't do that again.
It's
So,
funny. So our jamboree usually has the most amount of injuries of any other game all season long,
mm,
because it is the breaking in of a bunch of new guys that haven't played this style, then a bunch of guys coming from semi-pro that have been taught their whole life, put your nose in.
yep,
And there's value in that, don't get it twisted, but the real value is in breaking down and having leverage and putting your shoulder in, not putting your nose in, right? Doing all the fundamental things first before you get there, and making a sound tackle, not launching yourself at someone hoping to take them out.
yeah,
So a lot has changed with the viewpoint of everyone. But back to your point, it when you see it for the first time and you see that highlight of that dude getting decleated, that it makes you take notice, and it makes you go, these dudes are crazy.
yeah,
But what it made me do is go, hey, that is our trips right. That is our twins right, motion left, crack, option right play that we ran in flag 100 times. And Chris Vera, my division manager, decleated a dude like that every other play, playing flag. We played full contact flag, 8-man, where you had to lead with your hands out, but we would light each other up, and we absolutely loved the contact. So when I saw that, I was like, yo, I played that before. This is tight. I want a team. And the whole reason why I got involved and invested because I wanted to own a team. I didn't want to own a division. I didn't want to own 2 divisions. I certainly hell didn't want to talk about expanding and owning 6 divisions when I first got involved with this. I wanted to own a team. And when I got the application, they sent it back to me. I reached out to all my previous coaches in semi-pro and said, look, I want us to do this together. I don't know who's going to have the head coach position, but I want to own the team. You guys help me GM. I'll probably be OC. Donnie, you be head coach. You have the best pedigree for that. Let's figure this thing out together. And then when they finally reached back with the application and said, yeah, so your application is for a division. And I said, what does that entail? Like, we need you to build a division of 4 to 8 teams to compete, and then once your teams win and go on, they can go play on the national level. I said, well, this wasn't what I had in mind, but it sounds intriguing enough that I will say yes to your oddness of me running a division instead of a team, and we'll get it figured out. So basically, I took my 3 coaches and parsed them out, and they became coaches of the first 3 teams that we had, and then I operated the division. So
Got it.
that's how it came together for me. It was completely unintentional at first, and then everything that's happened since then has been organic and done out of necessity or coolness, right? I just wanted to, a lot of times, like, I want to do something cool. I saw Destroyin do his one-on-ones. I was like, I know a way to raise people's IQ about our league. Let's do some one-on-ones and invite everybody out in Vegas to do one-on-ones.
Right.
So it just, taking other people's ideas and trying to improve upon them for myself has grown this thing. And we got extra fortunate and extra lucky with the Triple SEN Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network in Las Vegas starting about 3 weeks before our fall season started, and they were looking for Las Vegas centric content to have on the sports, on their new sports station, which is on broadcast air. So I
And
just
boom.
made a couple phone calls. I'm like, hey, you have no idea who I am, but I know this person that you know. Can I get a meeting? I've got this league and you want to put us on TV. And he saw our clips and he said, yes, I want to put you on TV. So we were on TV for our entire fall season, and no other division or league has ever done that before.
I mean, it's big things. You wanted a team and they finessed you into a division.
Right.
They somehow talk, but that finesse, that sort of, oh shit, okay, well, let's kind of run with it,
Right.
turned into, all right, now we got 2 different conferences. Now the East, they're not playing each other. Now they have to go through Vegas and LA to get the championship now, and vice versa.
Right.
It's like it almost meant like back in the day, the NFL AFL merger.
Yeah,
It's what
that's
essentially
where
it became.
that's exactly where we're at with all of this. Like that infancy of the NFL,
Mhm.
I believe that is right where we're at with A7FL. We are right at that tipping point. We got enough people talking about us and have eyes on us now with Mike Tomlin and Snoop Dogg in a matter of 2 days talking about us. It's like, people are noticing, people are watching. All we need to do is have a couple more big moments, and then somebody like Fox, CBS, ESPN, Netflix, Amazon, if you're listening, we're ready to get a contract from you guys so you can have exclusive rights
They're
for our
they're
content.
they're listening, Derek. And I need to tell you this because I told this to Rob, and I've told this to pretty much every get. Trust me, they're listening because more than I want to say 95% of the shit that we talk about on this show somehow, some way ends up on mainstream, and we aren't getting the credit. Somebody's hearing it.
All
They're
right.
just not paying us for it. So
Right.
yes, like somebody's hearing you out. You might get a phone call soon.
Right. But probably a text message in the next 6 minutes while we're on this call. Like, hey, I heard you were looking for.
Yeah, thanks,
Oh,
guys. Thanks for the.
if that happens, I'll make sure you get your finder's fee.
I appreciate that.
I
I
got you.
appreciate that. I wish more people said, because there's a lot of teams that might be wanting to thank us for some of that stuff.
Right. And they should. And look, one of the reasons why we've been so successful in Vegas is because that is from ownership to management all the way down where we have any control. All of our people understand that our goals are to have a win-win for everyone who touches our league. If we get on a podcast, we want to bring enough content to make sure that we're good enough where it raises your platform and you do the same for us.
Yeah.
When people bring us sponsors, like, look, you bring us the sponsor. If you close it, 20% of that sponsorship goes to you. We close it, 10% of that sponsorship goes to you. You bring us these opportunities. We're going to make sure that you benefit from it to a point like we benefit from it, so that you have the opportunity and desire to want to keep working with us. There's no
Yeah.
reason for us to try to put all the eggs in our basket, because then we do that one smash and they're all gone. So
Yeah.
we try to spread the love, make sure everybody's sharing in it, win-wins all around, and then the thing grows organically.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's exactly what it has been doing. Um, again, like I've told you that we've been eager for it to get down here. We're excited for it to get down here. I want to see how much farther it'll grow, because I mean, Big Rob even said that that could be a gateway getting up towards like the Washington and Oregon and up around those areas, and just kind of taking over. And the more I think about it, the more I kind of look at it going, it's more, because obviously it's more, it could turn into more than 32 teams like every other professional league has. So how does that turn into, I mean, when we come to like playoff situations,
Yep.
when there's that many teams and that many divisions, how do you break that down to fit to where it's just, it almost turns into like it's like the college
Exactly. So
program.
right. So we have positioned ourselves and our playoff structure as we grow to be structured similar to where college football is headed and where college basketball already is.
Mm.
So your division champions get an automatic bid, and then your top 2 or 3 wild card teams fill out that round of 16 or round of 32, depending on how strong everything is, around of 24, depending on what it looks like.
Right.
And then you develop a champion out of that. So I love the college basketball format way better than any other playoff format, in that you have to win your division,
Yep.
or you have to be one of the best teams in the country to get an invite, period. And teams that win their division get an automatic bid, and everybody else has to get invited. I love that concept
Oh yeah.
because it puts value in the division above national ranking, and I
Right.
love that for the region. I love that for Vegas, because I love the tribalism that we have locally, by saying, we got this Vegas versus everybody thing going out here, and
Yep.
they fight tooth and nail to win. And then when it's done, everyone's like, "Yo, Vegas, go win this thing. Look, you won our division. You deserve to be our representative. Let's go rock this together."
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's just, again, man, the growth of everything, what I've seen, I love what everybody's doing. I love the fact that Vegas is actually starting to get into that competitive picture, starting to look into like, oh, these guys might have a chance to, take down, Patterson U or BIC or something. It's getting to be to that point where, and I asked Rob about this because, and it was something that I feel like he actually thought about before. And I asked him, when you start getting divisions in Texas,
Right.
Northern California,
Georgia,
Georgia, all of it. And when I
Louisiana.
when I said Texas, he went, because he knows the type of talent that's out there.
Right.
And I tell him, I was like, how long does it take for the East or the Northeast, New Jersey specifically? How long will it take before those teams are not talked about as the top anymore? How much
Ooh.
innovation does New Jersey needs to constantly be doing to stay on top? Because when these divisions come in and they start getting used to the style of play that the A7FL is, which I told Rob, to me, A7FL has been doing RPO before it became popular.
Right.
And once everyone starts to kind of get that down and get that understood, I, I'm not saying that the talent is not good out there in New Jersey. I'm just saying in other spots the talent is better. So
Okay.
how at that point do you stay relevant when all of these other divisions are going to start to come, and they will come. It's just a
Right.
matter of time.
Oh yeah, it's happening with a fever pitch right now. I have the good fortune of being one of the primary contacts when people are looking for a division or looking to buy for whatever, just because I'm out there so much and I'm so vocal in the media. I get those calls, I'd say a third of them, and there's a lot of them. No less than one a week, someone looking to buy a team or buy a division or inquiring about buying a team or buying a division, and for good reason. There's this is the tipping point. All we need is one TV contract, and this thing is blowed up, and everybody's making money the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
It's so low cost to run in comparison to any other professional football because we don't have the equipment issues. None
Exactly.
of that is a challenge. The most expensive part of football, besides insurance, is equipment.
Yeah.
And when I'm on the board of two other indoor football leagues or 8-on-8 football leagues where they do pad and helmet, and it's basically $350 in equipment for a guy to play.
Yeah.
For us, it's 60. It's
Yeah.
shirt, pants, mouthpiece. Let's go.
Yeah. That's all we
Right.
need.
Right.
That's all we need. So it's just it's going to blow. I understand it's going to blow, and that's why I said when I talked to Rob, and even he, because he's very realistic.
Yes.
He loves New Jersey. He loves the teams and stuff. He loves the A7FL. He is all A7FL. That is Big Rob Fabian.
Yes.
But even he knows time waits for nobody. It's going to come a time where New Jersey, all right, it's put up or shut up time. We've been talking about BI. Oh, how long will it take before they start to look at one of those franchises like, oh man, they used to be so good back in the day.
Right.
What happened? Like, just
Right. Yeah. And my understanding of the history of the A7FL, there's not many franchises like that still have teams. The ones that were great that are no longer viewed of as great, those teams are no longer even part of the organization. So
right.
and we're still having some of those things happen. Like the best team out of Baltimore last season was the rare breed.
Yep.
There is no rare breed this season. They have pretty much rolled up in the rare breed and the Gators and became the Watchmen.
Yeah.
So
Super team.
right, and I long for the time where a club team remains a club team. They never run away, and people see the legacy and hold on to that, because that's how we're building things in Vegas. We're not going to have teams fall out of the spring. Like I will do everything in my power to make sure that these 8 teams we have now that we have 8, remain the 8 teams we have forever, and unless someone buys one and changes the team name. By the way,
Got
if
it.
anyone's interested, $100,000 buy a Nevada team. You can rename.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, there he goes. Back guy.
My bad. My mom just called me in the middle of our show. I don't know. I didn't realize that this doesn't allow that to stop.
But I just so I'm looking at it this way now. I mean, you said it's going to be here in second, and again, I'm excited for that. I'm trying to get the word out as much as possible to get people to actually come in and get into it. But now we come into week 2 of the season now.
Yep.
All the things that have been going on. Week 1's done. We've seen a small taste, from all of these teams. But going into week 2, you have good matchups. You got the Force versus Sick with it. I think Kryptonite and Hunters is going to turn out to be a good game.
Yep. Game of the week.
Um, and again, I pray for the pit bosses against the Insomniacs. I really do. But you've got, and then the gold versus the over the top, and the over the top, even though that they lost, I mean, putting up 34 points, they've got something brewing there.
Yeah, they figured something out at the end of that game.
So it's just there's good football to be played.
Right.
There's definitely good football to be played. So when you look at this week 2, what is something out of the Vegas division that you're looking for or that you think may, actually change the way that out in the East is looking at Nevada?
Well, uh, if the Force were somehow able to dominate Sick with it, which I don't see happening, but if they were able to do so, you can bet the conversation back east will change because everyone who's around flag and rec football who's played in flag tournaments knows who Sick with it is and what they bring to the table in big money tournaments. They have a respect on their name. And if
No.
the Force were to come in and dominate them after the show that Sick put on last week against the Insomniacs, who had 4 of our best known players in the league,
No.
if the Force dominate them, I can guarantee you not only will they move up again like they did last week, they'll probably up into the top 2 or 3.
Ooh. Top 2. See, the top 2 mark, I definitely look at as a possibility because of the fact that BIC and the Watchmen taking each other on this week.
Right.
Now, from all I've heard and all I've seen, BIC, yes, great team, but what I saw against the Renegades week 1 was something that I wasn't expecting. I know Rob wasn't expecting it. I know nobody over on the East was really expecting it. A few plays that offensively would have gone the Renegades' way had that win not been as bad as it was. Some of the overthrows and the connections early on that if those would have happened, BIC would have fell.
Man, they held BIC to 2 offensive touchdowns. I mean, that's all you have to say to me. A team that is known for putting up 50 on virtually anybody that comes across their face, they held to 2 offensive touchdowns.
Yep.
Now, Ashanti did his thing, and he's going to do his thing. And if you don't know if you're not practicing the 3-on-1 and practicing covering the fastest person on your team in a 3-on-1 on the regular, you are not going to stop Ashanti Worthy from getting in the end zone. You can't even contain him if you're not practicing that play the right way.
No,
So
I'm looking at him like this guy. If you're looking at way too early MVP looks, Ashanti Worthy's at the top of the list right now.
right,
And look, Sterry is still an amazing QB, but the Renegades defense was, I don't know if it has something to do with BIC's O line just wasn't clicking or whatever, but Sterry was taking some shots that game, especially the 2 or 3 shots that he took on the extra point after Ashanti Worthy, the 2 returns that he had.
right,
On those extra points, Sterry took shots
every time.
every time. So I was like, "Oh, Sterry's hurt. He looks like he might be in some pain." He looked like, so I'm looking at the Renegades defense like, okay, this is a team right here that they're in the top 10 now,
Right,
but I mean, we did our own little top. I put them at 8, to be honest with you. I because of that fact. I'm like, you were talking about at that point the number 1 team in the league, and they only lost by 7. And if you watch that game, there were literally a couple of plays that the Renegades could have upset the BIC.
right.
They
I
they
mean,
they literally survived. The BIC survived the Renegades
well, you got to
in week
remember
1.
the BIC are head and shoulders, or were head and shoulders above everyone but the U last year, and save a play or 2 against the U, that is a different outcome.
Yep.
Save a play or 2 against the Renegades, it's a different outcome. So you asked the question earlier in the show, what's happening with the East? What's the innovation going to be? The innovation is going to be catching up to BIC because they are the class of the entire the entire league.
Mhm.
And with everyone, with BIC having a target on their back from every upper echelon team, they're all building themselves out to beat a team like BIC, which means they'll likely handle everyone else on the way while they're working it out and figuring it out. I know that's how the Force is built. I know the Insomniacs are at least concerned about it because they got a bunch of guys from the Force, and the
Mhm.
guys from Sick With It are just doing their own thing because they know their own thing eventually is going to be very, very tough to beat. And the teams that they're used to seeing are guys like Mark Bagway down in Florida. Those are the types of guys that they
Yeah.
have the most trouble with, not a team like BIC. So we'll see how it all shapes up, man. It's the most exciting season to date that I've been involved in because I understand how it's starting to break down. I cannot wait to see what LA looks like on Sunday. I can't wait to see what Florida looks like on Sunday. I can't wait to see the orange return to the league in Florida and what they look like and all the smack that the guys on the parlay were talking about the Ghosts and how good they're going to be this season. I as excited about what Florida is going to look like as I am what Vegas and LA are going to look like, and I don't own that division.
I mean, and again, if you're on the East, and because I mean, I've seen the talk, everybody sees the comments during the 3-on-1, and everybody sees, on social media the smack talk and stuff like that that goes. I'm just saying, y'all better be on your shit because the West is coming. You may think, oh, they're not going to take them this year. That may be, but everything evolves. Everything gets better. Everything changes.
Well, look, we have the smallest major city in the West in Las Vegas, less than 3 million population, with one of the stronger divisions in the A7FL
Yeah.
and representing the West right now. Imagine what happens when the Bay Area decides to focus, when LA decides to focus, when Phoenix decides to focus. That like our markets compared to that, we're not even half of either of those other markets. And we've got a lot of football talent. We got a lot of football pedigree down here. If you look at the high school rankings, we normally have 2 or 3 teams in the top 25, which is just
Yep.
weird for me to say out of Vegas.
Yep.
But we all know across the board, the opportunity for talent is much stronger in LA, Bay Area, and Phoenix than it is in Las Vegas by the numbers and by the sheer number of folks who end up in the NFL out of those regions. So
Mhm.
once those divisions turn on, luckily for me, Vegas has a head start, and we're sharpening things and getting better and grooming high schoolers now to come out and be thinking about playing our brand of football and starting that process. So
Yeah.
we're turning into a football town finally the way we want to. So, but once LA turns on, man, I'm scared. Once the Bay Area turns on, I'm scared. Stockton, NorCal, I'm scared. There's so much crazy talent that comes from up there.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful to see.
Yeah. It's gonna be scary to see what because and again, I saw the look on Rob's face when I mentioned Texas.
Right.
Oh, I and I tell you, I've seen fear on people's faces. This man had fear on his face for the East Coast teams
Right.
because he even said it. He thinks we may have a Texas Florida A7FL championship within the next decade, within the
Oh,
next 10 years easily.
easily. You
And
know,
and I mean that was one of those things. What better way to kind of settle even that argument, the Texas Florida rivalry that there is? It just I'm looking at it going, when Texas comes in, the main things when the Valley and the Bay Area, so like the Stockton, Sacramento, and
right.
then San Francisco, San Jose, like conquered that whole area right there.
Right.
When that division comes out and the Texas division comes out, well, there goes the neighborhood.
So I have a saying about Florida that 4 trees grow on trees. My saying about Texas, they got more D1s than guns. There is so much talent in both of those regions, man. Like once people start to take notice, it's going to be a very, very different landscape in each of those divisions, and the landscape in those divisions is going to change the way A7FL is played, is looked at, and is competed. Vegas needs to stay on their grind and stay in the gym and turn into what those guys are, or we're going to get left behind shortly thereafter.
Yeah. And again, the East needs to stay on that too, because the innovation should never end. You look at it in the NFL. What's the one thing at the very top professional levels that is a constant? It's a copycat league. There's constant innovation.
Right.
You know, there 5 years you may get certain style of play, and then after that 5 years, there's a different style of play that's dominating the league. You
Right.
know, it's just there's different things, there's different changes that happen, and I feel like if again, if BIC, if the all of these guys want to stay on top and stay the like you said, the class of the league, they're going to need to stay innovating on
Right.
a constant basis. They need to figure out what more can we do to stay on top, because there's right now RPO is the way to go.
Right.
Even at the NFL level, RPO is the way to go right now. What do you do to innovate from there? That's a question for everybody, that for every division. Whoever can innovate from that point first is going to have the biggest leverage on every single team in the entire league.
Right. And we're seeing that at the BIC. So when I study their tape, they are RPO to start, but they're more so catch you in zone or catch you in man, wait for you to turn around long enough that Sterry can turn on his 4-3 speed and blaze down the middle of the field. And if you're not sending the house after him so he doesn't have time to stop and think, like the Renegades did this last game, he will torch you with his legs every time. And if you just send the house at him and you don't have good cover corners, he will torch you with his arm every time. So they had the recipe. They just couldn't execute on offense to get enough points over the top of him. So every time we see a team like the U or the Renegades take BIC to the brink, everyone else gets a new blueprint of what they need to do to try to beat them. And that's where the innovation comes from. It's, hey, they did this, but still lost. What do we need to do to top that, to take it a step further?
Exactly.
And so when that innovation happens on defense, then the next team like the BIC goes, okay, we narrowly won that game. What are we going to do different this time to make sure that doesn't happen? And that's where their innovation starts to come from. So it's beautiful, man. It's a joy to see, a joy to watch. And let me just say, admittedly, I only watched the cut down version of the BIC Renegades game, so I've only seen the 19 minutes that was online. I need to find it and go back and watch the whole thing. I haven't had the opportunity to. I was producing my own game.
I don't know what happened to the streams. They had all the live streams up of all the games and stuff, and then the next thing I know, I think it was came Tuesday, and it was down to the condensed versions. I was like, huh. I was like, what happened there? I was like, because again, I wanted to kind of go back and see a little bit more and watch a little bit more. Plus, I wanted to make a highlight tape on Corey's excellent play this last week. Corey, you might need to listen to your boys, man. I'm sorry. I love you. I love you to death, my friend. I really do. But unless something happens there in Boston, you even need to hang them up, my butt.
Oh no. Corey still has the goods. He just needs to figure out how to get people to follow his lead.
Like, no, don't do Corey like that.
No. Look, I watched Corey when he came to Vegas, when he played for OTT, and there was a lot good there. His challenge when he was in Vegas was not having trust in the line, for good reason, but not stepping up in the pocket. And if you retreat in the pocket in this league, when you got guys that are 4-4 and 4-5 chasing you down at a quarterback position, it's no good. It's a much shorter escape window if you step up than it is if you try to retreat and get away from a guy. And then it's a much shorter throw when you step up. There's cleaner passing lanes when you step up. So guys like Corey need to understand that, feel the rush, step through it, and make a play.
Yeah, because his style of play is very much pocket based.
Right.
He's not, again, self-admittedly, he'll even tell you he's not a Sterry, he's not Huff, he's not, he's not Bagway, he's not any of those, style of guys. So, I mean, for him, it was just and again, I give him shit because, it's Corey Hammond when we all do. Um, but for him, he was in a situation where he was only with 8 guys
Right.
that he just met that day.
Right.
So I mean, I would have liked to see, a little bit better come out of Boston. I hope they get more guys to field the team because in all honesty, this matchup between the Omegas and the Snow Tribe, I'm praying for Corey to get a win here. I really am because I know how petty he is towards that team.
So I learned today
Uh-oh.
that the Omegas are coming with a full squad next week,
There we go.
potentially up to 30 guys.
There we go.
Right. So
There we go.
there's some things that are happening. Denzel couldn't stay on the phone this morning very long, but he was like, "Look, we're stacked for next week. Let's go." I'm like, "All right."
All right. There we go. Gives me a little bit more hope for Corey because again, like we had him on the show the Friday before week 1, and the amount of petty that was oozing from him was
I'm
unreal.
sorry I
It's
missed
just
that.
hilarious.
When we're done here, you got to drop that link for me.
Oh
I need
yeah.
that.
I'll give it to you because that was he just the amount of the passive aggressive petty. It was too good, too good.
Right. He's very good at
So
that.
I would love to see Corey, finally kind of take his revenge and get a win here. And if they got a full squad, I haven't seen. I mean, other than what we saw week 1, haven't really heard much about the Omegas. Haven't really seen much from the Omegas.
Right.
But I mean, with an 8-man squad, they fought, against the Animals all the way to the end.
Right.
So if a 30-man squad has even half of that fight, they might have a good shot here.
Well, I mean, if you put into perspective, Corey and the Omegas were in the same position as K Uno and the Pit Bosses last week, right? They went up against a juggernaut of a team that people had in the top 10 on both sides,
Yeah.
and with a quarterback who has got the goods, but with 0 days of practice and fresh on the team that day in a short squad. So we'll see if both of them, obviously, we heard the Omegas are going to increase their numbers. I hear the Pit Bosses are increasing theirs. Let's see on both sides if, they blow up and turn into one of those upper echelon teams, or at least get out of the cellar and become one of those mid-tier teams that are going to give the upper echelon a run for their money every now and then.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so because it's only good for the league.
Right.
The more competitive games, the more big time moments, the more that type of stuff that can happen. The more eyes are going to come to the league because that's exactly what people are looking for. It's just the entertainment value.
Right.
And if you have a bunch of really good games, the entertainment value's there.
Right.
Especially with all of in Vegas. Trey Robinson, I think right now is kind of one of my favorite players in Vegas right now. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I got to admit.
He is a joy to watch with the football in his hand. And we now have 2 instances of him looking like he's tackled standing up and getting a touchdown. So he did it in the championship game when he was on the Pit Bosses. He actually was damn near tackled, slipped out of that, dribbled the football, threw it for a touchdown that day. And then this last week, down with one hand on the ground, spins out, probably smacked his forehead on the ground, but kept his feet up, dances out of it, and then skirts into the end zone for a touchdown on a 3-on-1 return. That guy has got balance for days and talent for days. And, for good reason, he was on an NFL practice squad right out of college and broke Shady McCoy's high school rushing record when he was in high school. So he's definitely got the pedigree. It's just
Yeah.
what he does with it on a day-to-day basis and where his head's at on a day-to-day basis to see if he can turn it into gold or not.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely bringing the Insomniacs a different level of play, and he does seem to be that all-purpose guy, 3-on-1, almost like an Ashanti Worthy
Right.
style guy. And I mean, Ashanti Worthy is that guy. He's kind of in a class of his own at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think Trey Robinson has the potential to be one of those guys that's right there with him.
Yeah. His football IQ is fantastic. his skill set is top. What Ashanti has, I think Ashanti's a little faster than him and definitely stronger than him. So when making those comparisons, but Trey's, I would say, a much better quarterback. So good comp though. I when I was talking about Trey, when I was telling everybody who they need to watch out for in our league, I compared him to Ashanti as well back last season. So I'm on that bandwagon with you.
He's gonna be. And then can you tell me a little bit more about the man they call Scooter?
Dude, talk about a beast of a dude and a good human and a great quarterback and a guy who throws darts and is virtually impossible to bring down in the pocket. And if he takes off running, dudes make business decisions in front of him every time. So I like him as the 1A or 1B quarterback of the Insomniacs. And if they can figure out how to work Trey in a slot position or a receiver or a tailback position with Scooter as the primary, oh my God, be scared. But either one of them at QB, the run threat is ridiculous. With Trey, he will run past you, or if you get in his way, run you over. Scooter will spin around you, push you down, then run you over, and then come back and lift you up and laugh at you. Because he's a good person. He'll pick you up, but he'll laugh at you when he's done picking you up.
Entertaining, dude. Absolutely entertaining. I was just watching it going like, big dude's, dang, he's slinging it. Like, it looked effortless. Yep, that's another first down. Yep, he makes it look good.
And my saddest moment this offseason is when I learned the league was not going to allow bucket hats anymore. Because both he and Jeremiah Branch were famous for their bucket hats, and Scooter just made it look so good on TV every time I saw it. So I'm very disappointed that went away, but I understand.
Who put that ban? Who did that?
Can you just tell us the bucket hat story? I feel like that's a better question. Can you just tell us the bucket hat story? I watched the show. It's definitely a story that no one wants to speak on.
Well, I don't know the how it started. I just know that Scooter is a guy who rocks a bucket hat, and when he got his touchdown in our halftime exhibition game when we were at the Desert Dogs game, it was a viral video, and everybody knows this man with a bucket hat. But the funny thing about it is the majority of the comments on that thread was, "Aren't they playing indoors? Why is dude wearing a bucket hat?" so I understand why the league is asking for that to not be a part of it, but I want to know what you know about the bucket hat story that you should be telling us.
Yeah. Okay.
He's muted. I don't think he knows he's muted.
Dealing with something right now.
All right.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, what do you know about the bucket hats? There's some. Okay, he's asking you, what do you know about the bucket hat story?
Oh no, the attendant was asking me a question at the moment. Honestly, I don't know anything. I saw the 3-on-1, and they kind of referenced it, but they were like talking around the point. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They really didn't get into it. So I wanted to ask one of you guys. I figured you wouldn't know because you're in Vegas, and I feel like that's a New Jersey situation.
Yeah, I mean, so if it was a New Jersey broadcast, I probably am not in the know, but I will find out after this, so I can. I'm trying to be the A7FL insider. I'm gonna be your Jaws for the West.
Yes, sir. Let's go. But I mean, regardless, man, we appreciate you for coming on and talking with us. You know, again, having us learn more about Vegas and Nevada and LA and everything else like that. How far we're looking at the expansion. Like I already told you, man, we're here. You need us to do something. We'll be ambassadors somehow, some way. We're here to try and figure it out to bring it over here too. So you have my number. And
as we discussed, when we come to your area and start a division, you will be on our staff or board some way, shape, or form. We need to make that happen. We'd be stupid not to. If I am involved, you are involved. Let's just put it there.
Hell yeah. I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that.
So can I do some shameless plugging real quick?
Absolutely.
All right. So A7FL.TV, 10 a.m. West or 10 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. all the way till 9:30 p.m. There will be games on. If you are missing football, you're missing Smash Mouth activity, please check us out, a7fl.tv. In addition to that, if you are in Vegas or near Vegas and you want to see this live, the tickets are only $20 for 4 games. We've got concessioners out there. We got food trucks. We got music. It's a great day all day long. The football's better, but the atmosphere of when the football is on pause is live as well. So get out. It's free for kids always, and $20 for adults for a full day of football. And then I also want to promo, so because I want you guys to be my guests for the weekend of July 21st, 22nd, 23rd in Bullhead City, Arizona. We will be hosting the A7FL Championship, which I'm calling the 7 Bowl, and I need you guys there. I need you guys to be my guests. I need your involvement. I want you to help me out with some PA stuff, or maybe get on one of the play-by-play sides, or maybe be a field reporter or something. I need you guys involved, because the way you're helping us out west, that I'd be stupid not to ask for it.
We appreciate that, man. Like,
You
that's
definitely can do all of those things.
hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Ask for the days off if you ain't got them already. Let's go.
No, we don't worry about that. We will be there no matter what.
One day for me, honestly. Just that Friday, I got to call out.
All right, there you go. Look, Friday stuff doesn't start till like 7 o'clock. So I think it's the doors for the comedy show start open at 7.
Yeah, y'all an hour flight, so that's nothing.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
We're good. We will be there, Derek, and I again really appreciate it. Really do.
I appreciate you both.
Of the Jaffo Army, you guys already know all of our guests. Open door policy. Anytime you want to come back, hang out, and talk ball, the door is always open, my friend. Appreciate you for stopping by and giving us your time. Ladies and gentlemen of the Jaffo Army, Derek Duncan, the A7FL West. Appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yay.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting to a point now to where,
okay, hold on.
I mean, you heard it.
Yeah, I thought I pressed mute again, but I unmute.
I was like, you heard it right there. All Pro JAFFOs, A7FL. We talked about it. We put it into fruition. And it's there. We're gonna be there, man. That's gonna be a fun ass time. It's gonna be a fun ass time when we actually go down and do that.
Yeah, the biggest thing I heard, he said Arizona. Did he say Bullhead, Arizona?
That's what I heard. I heard Bullhead, Arizona.
Arizona, huh?
The AZ, hot as fuck down there in July. Yep.
Yeah, that was the first thing I was thinking too. It's gonna be hot as a motherfucker. But hey, look, Vegas.
We'll bring our own bucket hats.
Vegas would be yeah, obviously. Shit. Vegas would be hotter though.
Think so?
Heck yeah. Are you serious? Yo, I feel like we're fried bologna in Vegas. We would be burnt eggs in fucking Vegas, bro. Like, we're cooking, but I mean, at least we're good. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, we're still feasible to an extent.
Oh shit. Before we go any further, just want to hit our partners from Raise real quick before we start talking about it. Maverick, if you wouldn't mind hitting the Raise ad, my friend.
What's up, Jaffo Army? JP here of the All Pro Jaffos, bringing you a message from our proud partners over at Raise Energy. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring the consumer a powerful yet sustained energetic experience to help us put your workouts and focus in general to the very next level. Perfect for anyone at any time. Raise Energy has become the most popular, the best rated energy drink on the market to date, with a phenomenal flavor profile that puts most of the competitors just downright to shame. Powered by the enhanced Refresh technology, Raise Energy delivers with a performance-enhancing energy drink profile that aids in the most often overlooked categories, which include targeted focus, enhanced recovery time, as glycogen becomes depleted, improve clean energy levels, boost in stamina, and in hydration. Most importantly, each can of Raise has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. You should not have to drink or settle for any other energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, opt for the smart choice with the #1 fan-voted energy drink on the planet with Raise Energy Drink. Use the promo code ALPHARAISE at checkout to get 15% off of your order. Demand more. Join the Raise Rebellion. Let them know the JAFFOs sent you.
Hell yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So Jaffo picks A7FL style. From what we have seen, I'm gonna go down the list right here, and Kay, we can make our picks from here. From what we have seen, on week 1, from the A7FL, definitely exciting, definitely entertaining. You guys are not gonna want to miss it. This Sunday, April 2nd, we'll go down the list right here. Starting off, the Silk City Animals versus the East Orange Renegades. Kay, who do you have here?
Animals.
Animals.
And it's only because of Huff, because the defense of the Renegades is nothing to be trifled. So, at least after the week 1 performance, it's nothing to be
Yep.
trifled. So, that's going to be a tough ask. I didn't watch the game between the Animals and the Omegas.
You didn't
So I
miss
have to
much.
take the word for it. I just seen that one play with Corey. They did Corey the worst way. So, because last I checked, it's say 8. So I'm trying to figure out at what point in time, because I might have missed it when I was listening to the 301 yesterday, but they
Yeah,
had
they
8
got
people. How did the quarterback end up on the field?
got
Like,
one guy that they got one guy that needed a rest, man, on the 7 side.
man, that mother sucker need to rest the quarterback. If they want to win, you can't let Corey go in. What you talking about?
Well,
I know Corey
hopefully,
probably was being a team player. You know what I mean? He
yeah,
seemed like that. That seems like that guy. Like, I'll be a team player, give my boys some rest. Oh, I
give
feel
him a
like he'll say,
breather.
like, I got to give my boys some rest.
Like, well, hopefully, like Derek said, they had more players this week to give, Corey and the rest of the guys there, some help. So we'll see how
He
that
said
goes.
full
But
squad.
when it with the animals and man, it's hard for me not to pick the Renegades, to be honest with you, because of the fact that they were a couple of plays away from beating the BIC. And
Y'all say couple, huh? Sure,
huh?
you and Derek said. Honestly, they were a quarterback away. Y'all can say whatever y'all want about that. Well, they said it yesterday on the 301. Pretty much they was saying how high and heavy the wind was at Asbury Park. So personally, I feel like, they could have adjusted to that. And if it's
Shit.
high, if it's windy again, then it might have an issue. I
Yeah,
don't know.
because
That's my
the animals have a really good run game. Really, really good run game. So I think the animals, if it is another windy day, can adjust accordingly. Um, because I think Huff, I mean, no disrespect to CP3, because again, it was a windy day and everything else like that, but I think Huff is just the better QB. Renegades, though, like I said, that defense, it was really good, but I think I'm with you. I'm gonna pick the animals, not by much, but I'm going with the animals here.
Hold on before we move on.
Insomniacs.
I wanna make sure like, I don't want to disrespect the Renegades. Like, y'all offense is really good, and that quarterback, he's solid. He's a solid runner. I don't feel like he's the best passer. And number 23 is a good runner as well. I want to say that before we move on to the next game.
Okay. Insomniacs versus the Pit Bosses. Insomniacs winning a close game against the Sick with it. Pit Bosses getting their asses whooped by the Force. I mean, we heard Derek on here. He was talking about it. Insomniacs, they have probably the 4 best players. Arguably in that division. And unless the Pit Bosses figure something out, I'm thinking this is going to be a rout again. I'm going with the Insomniacs. Okay, who you got?
I mean, it's kind of hard not to go with the team that just like play really well, and then the other team play really bad. It's kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard not to be like, oh no, they'll figure it out. Yeah, nah, bro. Pit Bosses, they lost by 40 points last week, and this team put up 50. So yeah, we're going with the Insomniacs. That's a full sled.
Yep. The Orlando Ghosts versus the Nightcrawlers of Tampa Bay.
Yes, Lord. Battle of foe. The battle of our foe.
They're saying the Ghosts are good, but we know the Nightcrawlers are really good too.
Yeah, they was talking about that quarterback. What was his name? Started with a B. Last name started with a B.
Bagway.
Michael Bagway. I've never
Mark.
heard of homie, so he had to be for sure after I moved to Cali.
Yep. They got Mark Bagway, who is
Mark Bagway. I said Michael. Fuck.
Mark Bagway, the #1 flag player in the entire country. He's the quarterback for the Nightcrawlers.
I gotta ask my boy Lawrence about him. I heard y'all say that shit. I'm gonna ask Lawrence about him.
Yep.
Because Lawrence in the
Sure.
US football.
Go. I'm gonna go with the Nightcrawlers here. Only because I don't know as much about the Ghosts as I do about the Nightcrawlers, and that might be my fault. But I'm going with the Nightcrawlers here. Okay, who you got? I feel like it's a Tampa Bay thing for you.
813 versus the full 7. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Fuck. Oh man, I wish I could watch some Bagway goddamn highlights. I want to pick Orlando because they're the unknown to me right now. I mean, I seen a little bit of the fucking Nightcrawlers last season, so
Yeah.
I don't know who they are, but the Orlando Ghost is the unknown. Oh man, that #1 flag football player is a heavy fucking moniker to have, and they're saying this shit nationally.
Yep.
Before we move on, do you know the A7 on the zone?
So wait, the what?
It's on the zone. You know that DAZN?
Yep.
That you know they're on there now?
Yeah. Yeah, we
No,
announced
know
that they had signed that deal on Friday. Or on Wednesday.
Bro, I just heard it yesterday on the 301. I was like, damn, that shit, that's fucking tight.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they actually signed that deal 2 days before, or 2 or 3 days before the regular season started.
That's fucking tight, bro. I probably got told that information. I probably said it was tight then too, and it.
Oh, you did.
I told you earlier. It's been a shitstorm lately. So fuck, my memory is not what it used to be. Oh, bro, this Prius almost ran the line. This
Goddamn
Prius
Prius.
almost, bro. It was about to kill people.
For those of you guys who are hearing it right now, Kay is in the car right now coming home. It sounds like a Prius almost took him off the road.
Not me, the people in front of me.
Maverick. Seriously, what's up with these team names on the East of a complete outsider? You guys met Insomniac. Oh yeah, we got some pretty good team
Thank
names
you.
here.
Thank you, Maverick.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you. Look, I understand. First off, I understand. Florida got some fucking trash ass team names, bro. Trash. And we got 2 team names that actually make 3. That actually makes
For the
sense.
record, it's because Florida is fucking stupid. That's why.
That's not my fault. They let the governor be Jeb Bush. Like, that's not my fault. Then they went to Charlie Chris. They shit. They know that man is the Antichrist.
oh shit.
Motherfuckers.
Oh my god. Okay. Did you go with the Nightcrawlers or did you go with the Ghosts?
This is tough. I'm gonna go with the Ghost because that's kind of what my gut's telling me. Like, my heart want to go with the Nightcrawlers because the whole Bucks and shit like that. But my gut's telling me to go with the Ghost.
All right, man. What if the Ghosts end up ghosting and not showing up?
I mean, if they don't show up, then shit.
It's on them, I guess, huh?
They gotta get the fuck out. Yeah, they gotta get the fuck on.
The Sin City Chaos, who beat the dog shit out of the Volcanoes last week, 50-something to 6, playing against the Covington Heist in Ohio. Chaos. I'm gonna go with the Chaos. Okay, who you got?
That's fucking rough. And they're showing the Chaos there, bro. I'm telling you. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like the Chaos kind of got snubbed because that quarterback run should have been on top play. Not on ours because we only have 5. I feel like on.
And the only reason why I didn't have it is because I couldn't find the fucking
stream. Yeah, I kind of figured that's what happened.
Yeah,
at least for that. But I mean,
because I did see a few of them that I was like, "Fuck, that could have been a top 5er right there."
Yeah, I think I didn't tell you until like a couple days later or like the next day or some shit. Yeah, so it is what it is at that point. Did you hear me? I'm going with the Chaos.
The Chaos, okay. The QC Crush versus the
QC
Olentangy Volcano. I'm just gonna say Columbus because they were saying Columbus during the broadcast. They were saying Columbus Volcanoes because I think they couldn't even say Olentangy or not even say it with a straight face. The Volcanoes versus the Crush. The Volcanoes got that ass whoop last week. I'm gonna go with the Crush.
Mm. Mm. Did the Crush play last week?
Don't think so, no.
Yeah, I don't think we said the Crush name. I don't know, bro. If the Crush didn't play last week, I'm gonna go with the Tangy Boys because they mad. Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you right now. Lou Ballard did not take that land with the shoreline. he went out there and went and climbed that goddamn light pole in the thunderstorm. He slid across that power line to get them goddamn shoes. Lightning bolt hit that goddamn conductor. Bow Wow was a fucking superstar after that. And Bow Wow's from Columbus, Ohio, so.
So you're gonna go with the Volcanoes?
I'm gonna go with the Volcanoes on a redemption game.
All right, next game here we got the DC Buzz, who got whipped by the Watchmen, playing Patterson U, who whipped the Snow Tribe and had one of the most hilarious plays I have ever seen. And for those of you who don't know, go on the social medias, go check out The Point on our YouTube and TikTok and Twitter and everything else like that. And you will know exactly what we're talking about. That shit was too hilarious, and that should be getting rerun over and over and over again on ESPN. But in this case, I'm gonna go with the U here. Okay, who you got? And he's out. Okay. So I'll go through the schedule real quick. We got the Force versus the Sick with it, the Kryptonite versus the Vegas Hunters. Probably the game of the week, the Watchmen versus the BIC. Over the Top versus the Gold. He's back. Yep, he's back. There he is. Ugh. And I'm going to kind of cut this a little short. I think I'm feeling a little sick, to be honest with you. Let's see. Got the Gold versus the Over the Top, and the Omegas versus the Snow Tribe. So Corey's getting another late game. So we'll probably hear him in the booth more often throughout the game. But it's going to be another very interesting week for the A7FL. WrestleMania is going on this week. This weekend. Formula One's going on this weekend. We got fights. I think NXT is going on right now, or already went on right now. So I'm gonna have to rewatch that as the replay. But there's so many things happening this weekend, and don't get fooled tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We know April Fool's Day is tomorrow. The day of pranks is among us. So if you're doing the pranking, don't be too cruel. If you're getting pranked, don't take it too personal. It's just a joke. We appreciate the hell out of Derek Duncan for hanging out with us on this lovely Friday evening. I'm going to talk to him definitely more as the season goes on. We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us again, and we will definitely be seeing you guys on Wednesday. We're going to see if me and Mav can maybe get a little WrestleMania watch along on night 2.
I'm pretty down for night 2. Night 1's not gonna work for me, but I mean
night 1. Most people are worried about night 2. So
I'm looking forward for night 2. Night 1, I'm looking forward to Bianca Belair and Asuka. I'm looking forward to the tag team matches. I'm really looking forward with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens against the Bloodline, or the Usos rather. Solo Sikoa is supposed to be wrestling. I don't know if he already wrestled tonight or if he's wrestling tomorrow. Main event, of course, that's going to be huge. But what I'm really wanting to watch, which I'm going to have to watch like tomorrow or Sunday before Mania, is Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. That's going to be amazing. Eddie Kingston, Claudio Castagnoli, let's fucking go.
It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a great weekend for all things sports and sports entertainment. So go catch everything. Once again, we appreciate you guys for hanging out with us on this Friday. We will talk to you guys again on Wednesday. Stay tuned for all the watch-alongs and everything else like that we're going to be having throughout the weekend. All Pro JAFFOs, highly elevated sports talk for the highly elevated sports fan. I'm JP for the 610 Beats, Mr. Country K for the Marvelous Maverick. We'll see you guys next time. Deuces.